welcome in everybody. Third and Teal here, coming to you at a lot earlier in the morning than we normally do. A little bit of some scheduling stuff, and now we are here at 9:30 my time, 10:30 Jacksonville time. Unfortunately, we cannot go live at exactly 9:04 a.m. y'all's time. That'd have been a little too early for me and Eric, at least for me, because I get off late now.
I got you, Duval.
Yeah,
Duval TV, man, right in here first thing.
Duval
right,
in the house. Duval TV.
How you doing this morning, Trevor?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm not asleep this time. I've been actually really tired adjusting to, like, I can handle the 10, but I got into an old man groove where I was going to sleep at 9 o'clock, dude. And then you switched that schedule, man.
Trust me, I'm right there with you.
Oh, dude, I fucked up.
Uh-oh.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's a minor fuck up. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess that's a good segue in. Eric, how you doing this morning, man?
Hey, man. Early morning problems, right?
Yeah,
don't worry about none of that.
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's early, but I'm used to being up early, so we all good. We all good. Ready to get this in. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, we got a little bit to talk about. Got the bye week. From what I am hearing, seeing, knowing, not knowing from many guys, from people on social media, from media people, seems like we're not going to get any changes till the end of the season. I'm basically, the vibe is like firing a couple of coaches isn't going to change the inevitable, which is just like a complete failure and like a complete overhaul in the off season.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping that, Shad Khan holds up on his whole. You can't come out in front of the team and go, "Oh, this is the greatest team ever assembled in the Jaguars uniform," and then they underperform, and you're like, "Damn, we're keeping so and so
everybody
for the rest of them." Like, so we'll see. I know we're gonna get into. I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say that yet because we're gonna get into the stats of everything. Yeah, what you got, Eric? What you got for us? What's the first thing you want to get off your chest this morning?
And look, 2023, Shard came out and said, this last season was an organizational failure, right? Bam.
Yep.
And the question was, what happened if we go through the same thing again this year? Some changes going to be made, right? Now, he didn't say they were going to be mid-season. He said some changes will have to be made. So, with that being said, it's possible. It is possible that he already had a plan, in place for the end of the season if anything went wrong to clean house. Now, with that being said, I thought about it. I said, well, fans, we hard on Balky, right? We hard on Doug right now and Press Peterson. So here's the question.
Press Peterson.
Let me go back and look at the free agents that were brought in during Balky's term. And how many are still on the team? What were their contributions to the team? And let's see. Where is the problem? What?
Before we do a credibility check on old Balky there. Okay.
Okay.
One thing we got to talk about, though, because you mentioned that, there's a plan in place for the offseason. It's at least what the outward appearance would be from what he said in the beginning of the year.
Correct.
But doesn't that seem like the Jaguar thing to do? Wait until all the confidence is destroyed and the entire team's deflated and every player we got doubts his own ability now? Doesn't that seem like the Jaguar thing to do? Like, we know this guy is doing nothing but marching these guys straight into blenders every week. Like, they're walking out there just to get fucking obliterated by shitty play calling and even better. They're just being outcoached every week. And, and all you're doing is tearing these guys down to the foundation. You're destroying them. The only things that they did do well, you're destroying them. I think the only people that are going to maintain confidence in themselves is going to be Ventrell Miller and Foye Oluokun, because Foye knows what he's doing. Trayvon Walker will probably maintain some because he's been doing okay. And then I think Trevor will maintain his confidence because if he looks at his own stats, he knows,
Right.
But that being said, though, like, what about Brian Thomas Jr.? We can't have him getting stunted in his growth already. Like, we can't stunt his growth now. It's way too early for that. It's way too early to be like giving him this heavy of a setback. And then morning. And then for somebody to say something along the likes of there are plans or changes have to be made. You're right, there are changes that have to be made. And before we even get into this credibility check, I just want to say, no matter how many of them we can point out that are still around, none of them are putting us in the win column.
That's true.
I gotta say, and as a general manager, you're also in charge of, like, if you see someone, because he's over the head coach. I mean, I think a lot of people forget this part. Everybody's like, oh, Doug should be firing coordinators. You're right, Doug should be. But if Doug's not doing it, Balky should step in. Like, Balky should say, hey, this is my team at the end of the day. We're not performing here and here. You're going to do something about it or you're going to go. And he's also failing that job as well. So regardless of who we brought in, which I'm sure we're about to find out, I know we are. But even when we bring all those things up, none of them are X factors at this point. None of them are changing the game. And I mean, other than the slam dunk give me picks that he's had, like literally he walked into the Trevor Lawrence draft knowing Trevor Lawrence is the first pick of the draft. That was a handed to him. Like, dude, I would have bet my mortgage if I had one at the time on Trevor Lawrence being the first overall pick. With that being said, though, other than picks like that, he's hit on a couple. And I think Ventrell is one. So it's like he just now hit on one. You know what I mean? Like a couple of them he's hit on.
Right.
But yeah, that's really all I wanted to point out before we got into it, though. Is just he's failing in multiple categories.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's the purpose of the show. Okay, if you look at some of the players that were brought in, yes, some were busts, but some of them actually contributed. So the question is, where's the problem? Which is pointing more toward, as you say, the general manager and Doug together.
Yeah,
you understand the point I'm trying to make here. So let's get to it. 2021 free agents that we brought in, because I'm talking free agents right now. I'm not talking about drafts. Because you look at the drafts, you're like, not a bad draft. But it took those guys 3 to 4 years to develop to become where they are now. And once I went back and looked, though, and this was an interesting thing. A lot of Cisco, Vontrell, a lot of our draft picks were coming off major injuries in college.
That's a bulky signature.
Walker Little. I think he didn't play.
Smith.
Yeah, he didn't play for like 2 seasons. He chose to sit out one, and the other one he was hurt. So you're like, okay, these guys are coming in. Yeah, but they're not ready to play.
Yeah, you're talking about people that should have taken another year of eligibility in college to hop back on the field. We're talking about people that really didn't have any business entering the combine or the draft process.
Correct.
These people should not have even been available at this time. And for their own preservation and their own career path, they should have done that for themselves. But they decided to enter the draft anyway for whatever reason. I do believe Cisco was denied another year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken, for whatever reason. I don't remember. But that may have been why we ended up with him in the draft. But yeah, that's a signature bulky move. He did it again this year. Mason Smith.
Yeah.
What's the lineman's name? I'm forgetting his name.
Foster.
Yeah, Javon Foster.
Yeah.
Javon Foster is another one coming off of a big injury. He was an all-SEC before he got hurt. Nobody knows what it'll be now. And that's bulky signatures, project picks.
All right, let's get. Oh, sorry. God bless you. Let's get to 2021 free agents. Shaq Griffin. We know how that turned out. Marvin Jones Jr., Rayshon Jenkins, Sidney Jones IV. Here goes somebody's favorite, Philip Dorsett, Carlos Hyde, Roy Robinson Harris, Jihad Ward, Chris Manhurst, Rudy Ford, Jamal Agnew, and we actually signed a kicker that year, Aldrich Rojas.
He hit on 3 of those. And I got to say, though, Rayshon had already established himself. So that was kind of a give me. If you could get him, that's a give me. Okay. Marvin Jones Jr. also had established himself as a great receiving, like a good hands receiver.
Right.
I feel like that's also a give me. If you know that you can get that guy, you get that guy. Especially in our situation. And then what was the other one you said? Roy Robb. Now, Roy Robb, I give him credit for. He saw more in Roy Robb than anybody else did, and he hit on that one. So one out of however many you just listed.
Well, Jamal also.
I don't know if he hit on Jamal, man. Jamal didn't do nothing for us but fumble the fucking ball in the biggest moments, dude.
Yeah, but
there's a reason he's not still with the team.
Well, yeah.
And Parker Washington's been here 2 years and already set the franchise record on returns. So, like,
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I'm not saying that like Jamal wasn't a good like gadget piece here and there, but like he wasn't ahead. He was kind of like Rashad Green of his time. Like Rashad Green had flashes, but he had more disappointing moments than he ever had accomplishments.
That's a great comparison. A great comparison.
Yeah, and then you're sitting there and you're like, you sit back and you're like, at the time we're feeling, oh yeah, Jamal Agnew because he returned one for a touchdown. What did he have? Like 2 touchdown returns the whole time he was here?
Yeah.
But he rode those the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, so I give Roy Robb the hit. I don't know that I give Agnew the hit. What do you think, Isaiah?
I mean, I think that Roy Robb was a solid pick. I think he was an inconsistent pick, though. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that he was consistent. I mean, I think that Agnew in the return game, I mean, I think saying that he only returned 1 or 2 is kind of just a detriment to what he really did for us. A lot of especially our 2023 season or 2022 season when we were going big, he had multiple returns where he got us over the 50-yard line, got us to the 40, just stuff like that. Where, he might not have had all the touchdowns and the flashy numbers, but he definitely had a great time returning the ball. And he had a couple of plays outside of that Kansas City Chiefs game where he actually had some big touchdowns. But I mean, it probably would have to be D-Roy in terms of like, or Jesus Christ, Roy Robinson Harrison. It probably would have to be him out of that class. I'm not really thinking of anybody else it could be besides
Marvin Jones Jr.
Marvin Jones. Yeah. I mean, Marvin Jones Jr.
Like we talked about though, he knew that. That was almost a There was no guesswork there. That was if he wants to come here, you sign him.
But I mean, you say that, but now we got a bunch of players that we thought were no guesswork and we thought were going to be amazing in the offseason, and then now they suck. So.
Are you talking about like Savage and Darby?
Yeah.
I mean, we thought Savage, Darby, Gabe Davis, Eric Armstead. Like we thought all these dudes were just going to come in
the
here.
Biggest one is Eric.
Eric's the biggest disappointment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now, you're absolutely right though.
Again, if he's taking all of his reps from the 5 or inside the 5, I mean,
he's good.
Maybe we're having a different season right now. But even then, he's had some pretty poor quality reps. I still don't think he'd have been as good as we wanted, but I think that definitely does not help that we're lining them up at outside edge rusher whenever he's definitely an inside guy.
You want to know what's even more disappointing about that?
What?
Is that Balky's the guy that drafted him. So Balky was a part of the scouting process for Eric Armstead. He knows that he's an interior guy. Right. Why is he allowing this? And that's another I think that goes back to the point of what I was talking about earlier is like this also falls back on the GM at the end of the day. Like, if you see your coaching staff making a decision that in the end is not panning out, it has not panned out not one time. Not one time.
Yep.
And you're still allowing it. And then he should know better than anyone where Eric Armstead belongs. You scouted him from the very beginning. I mean,
exactly.
You should know. Why are you not saying something? Why are you not doing something? I mean, and at the end of the day, you are the general manager. You can do something. You can. You're just not.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think, Isaiah, I do want to say, though, I think you're right about, like, he had a good bit of returns, and he was very serviceable. But I don't think that's one that you put in the category of, like, oh, your GM is like I don't know, like a visionary of sorts.
No, I mean, I think the money we paid him, though, I think he was worth what we paid him. I just
he was a good deal.
He was a middle-of-the-road guy. He wasn't like, hey, we discovered his hidden talent. He wasn't like, hey, he was a bust. I'm just saying, like, I think that, like, just the way you phrased it, I was like, I don't know that necessarily does it justice for what he really did for us.
Right.
But I mean, definitely though, I mean, you would have liked to see more out of the guy, considering that we brought him in on a wide receiver contract. But I still don't think he was necessarily a disappointment. But I know what you're getting at, though. I know he's not like a holy shit. How did Balky, rub the magic 8 ball and find this one?
Right.
Well, it's also like, why is people like why are these other teams able to do that though? That just becomes the question, because we seem to be the only team that's behind on that. Like every team except for the Titans, they can't pick a fucking hidden talent for shit neither. But like, say for instance, they just fired the Jets GM, right?
Right.
But the Jets GM, that guy was actually pretty good at finding fucking talent. That team's star-studded. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a star-studded team. Now they've got organizational issues to take care of, no doubt. But like that guy is a talent finder. Like he just finds them, dude. And the same with Andy Reid. Andy Reid finds gyms all the time. Like where the hell did what's that guy's name? Isaiah Pacheco. No one knew about Isaiah Pacheco until he started busting angry runs in Kansas City. Okay, like
right,
dude, and he's a Super Bowl winning running back now. Nobody knew like everybody. The only thing people knew about Zay Flowers was that he could run a good 40.
That was it.
And now he's killing it in the wide receiving game and the sprint. He's a great sprint. Like I mean, these teams are finding guys that we just seem to be completely blind to. Like Patrick Mahomes, for instance. We had the opportunity to draft him. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of our fans go back to is that we had the opportunity to draft Patrick Mahomes and we didn't. We passed on him. Kansas City knew. Why is it that people like that always know and we just seem to never have any fucking idea?
Well, you know, a lot of teams passed on Patrick Mahomes because they just thought he was a gunslinger. You know, he coming out of Texas Tech. That's, you know, they had the air raid offense. Only thing they did was throw the ball. So, you know, but once again, as I always say, he had the privilege of sitting behind a veteran quarterback and learning the system before he actually had to take the field.
And a very underrated veteran quarterback.
Yes,
Alex Smith
exactly.
was a beast.
Right. So, you know, that's that. Put Deidre's thing up. She said, I swear some of these guys getting paid to suck. I mean, they perform so well until they get here and then boom, they suck. You can't argue with that because that is so true.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Gabe Davis.
So yeah.
Eric Armstead.
So is that a product of the coaching? Yes, it is. It has to be. Or is it the system? Because you know they look good they look good in other places, but they come here get in our system under our coaching and they just fall apart. So what is it?
Well, it's like Allen Robinson left here and went and became one of the best receivers in the league for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know, that was a mistake anyway. That was a big mistake. I don't think they wanted to pay the man.
They didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to pay him, but it's because our offensive scheme was not benefiting him.
Right.
Like, not to the point to justify the amount of money that he was actually worth. But he knew that he could do these things, obviously.
Right. And you know what? You just said something, Trevor. You just said something. You know, we're drafting players, but we're trying to get them to fit our scheme instead of building the team around what they do well. And I think that would make a big difference.
Travis Etienne's the prime example.
Yeah.
Why do we keep trying to send that little dude up the gut?
Because that's what Doug Peterson liked. That's his style. 2022 free agent signings. I'm trying to work through this, Isaiah. Work with me because I know you got somewhere to be.
Oh, you're good.
Brandon Sheriff. We know how that turned out. All right, here's a good one. Foye Aluakon, linebacker extraordinaire. Yeah, but as Trevor said, he was already established anyway. You know, Atlanta just couldn't pay him. Folorunso Fatukasi, injured all the time. Christian Kirk.
He's been playing good for the Texans
Houston.
now that he's been staying consistently not hurt, but he's getting hurt again now.
Christian Kirk, wide receiver. Okay, we know how that worked out. Let's see. Evan Ingram. You know, they had threw Evan Ingram to the trash basically. So
he hit on that one. He hit on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Christian Kirk, I think that was a hit as well. Only because I don't think anybody expected him to go over 1,000 yards and multiple touchdowns in that next year. And he did it. I mean, if he didn't get hurt last year, he's over 1,000 yards for a second time.
But look at this class, man. You got Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. I mean, this is the free agents, right? And then they brought in Zay Jones.
We should have kept Zay Jones.
Zay Jones was a hit until he started dropping balls in 23.
Well,
and even then that's when he was hurt too. And then he comes back from injury and he still gets some of the best corner touchdown catches we've ever had. But we can't get any of our receivers now to put 2 feet in bounds in the end zone.
And then we got
BTJ.
D. Will, cornerback, and then once again another kicker, Ryan Santoso. Which
he's terrible at picking kickers until Cam Little.
Right.
He's terrible.
Well, I think that was just competition in that one.
Yeah.
I think they actually said that, if I'm not mistaken.
We had him and we had Riley Patterson.
And then
Patterson won the competition.
But then they signed McManus anyway.
Well, I don't even remember these. This
No,
one.
McManus was 2023.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're in 22. Sorry.
Yeah,
Xavier
2023, you're good.
Crawford. Xavier Crawford, cornerback, and then
He-
Arden Key, defensive end. So that was the 22 free agent signings.
Oh yeah, we got to go back to a couple of those. So Foyer, absolute stud, but I don't think you can give him the point there because Foyer was established. Like you said, Atlanta just couldn't pay the man.
Right.
We knew that.
Exactly.
Everybody knew
Right.
Foyer was one of the best linebackers in the league. He's been top 10 in tackling for like 5 years now. Like he's a beast. D Will. I don't remember what D Will was really doing before he got here, but he really did emerge again when he was here. So
He won a
He
Super
was-
Bowl with the Rams.
Yeah, with the
Jalen
Rams.
Ramsey.
I was going to say, I know he won a Super Bowl with the Rams, but I don't remember if he was like a key piece of that defense or not because Jalen was still there.
Yeah,
Nah,
but he was.
He was. Yeah, he was
Okay,
an
well,
island opposite of Jalen.
So then you can't give him the point for that either. Okay, so you take the point there. Christian Kirk. I don't know if I want to give him the point, not because Christian didn't pan out. Christian absolutely did. But like, what the he really did pay a fucking absolute shitload of money to Christian Kirk. Like, no, he didn't reset the market. We've already had that conversation. We know what happened right before. Okay. But at the end of the day, he did give Christian Kirk a ass load of money. Like, I mean, a metric fuck ton of money.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that Christian Kirk wasn't good, but I don't know if he was that much money good, but he was good. It's hard to say. He was worth it though. But I don't know if you say he's worth it just because our team had no one else, or is he worth it because he's actually that caliber receiver all around the league? You know what I mean? Like, is he just worth that to us? Which I guess, okay, at that point, you give him the point. So fuck it. We'll just say he chalk one up. He got a point for Kirk, right?
Yeah.
Moving down, who else did you say? You said Faloranzo, Fadakasi. I'm not giving him a point for that. Fadakasi did not do a fuck thing while he was here.
Zay Jones.
I'll give him the point for Zay Jones.
Okay.
I give him the point for Zay Jones because Zay Jones was absolutely crucial to a lot of the games we came back and won, especially that Baltimore game. That
Right.
ended up actually continuing us to be able to push for the playoffs in the first place. So I give him the point for Zay Jones.
Arden Key.
No, fuck no. Hell no.
I knew you.
Hell no.
I mean,
Arden Key is the man who built Duval. What are we talking about here?
Right. Hey, he
But
flashed.
yo,
That's
also,
all
can I say though, I kind of want to take the Zay Jones point back because he ended up letting him go anyway. Like, and here's why I say that. I know he got hurt, but he still came back and played and still made better catches than anybody else we had on the field at the time. Like he was, and even with the drop passes he had here and there, but not just that. Like Trevor still looks to that back corner of the end zone. That's Zay Jones written all over it.
Yes. Yes.
Zay
I
Jones
agree.
should have been here. Especially now. Like, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but like, I would like to say I've been skeptical of Gabe Davis since the beginning. Have I not? Like, I have been skeptical of Gabe Davis since I found out we signed him. I didn't think that he was going to be what we thought he was going to be. I was worried about that. I was hopeful, but I was worried. I was worried about Gabe Davis being anything here. And then, you can think about it like Brian Thomas Jr., then who? Because Christian Kirk was, and we also talked about, we kind of predicted that Christian Kirk was going to get hurt again. Like the fact that he already hurt himself again in the preseason, it was almost like it was bound to happen. Now, like the injury that ended up happening, no one could have predicted that one specifically. Like that was ugly. But I mean, that being said, though, like why would you let Zay Jones go? I mean, like I don't understand. And he didn't take some super expensive deal. He's playing for cheap as shit right now.
Right.
Like, why? Why would we do that? And then like everybody's like, oh, well, look at Zay Jones now. He's not doing shit. He actually had a game-winning catch like 4 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. And then not only that, like, sure, he may not be doing what he was doing over here, but he's in a whole new system with a whole different style of quarterback. Kyler Murray is a completely different style of quarterback. But I mean, all things aside, though, Zay Jones should have never left here. So I think I want to take that point away from Balky at the same breath because you also fucked that up. So, like, you got it right bringing him here, but you fucked it up by letting him go.
Okay. That makes sense.
Also want to take the D. Will pick from him. He didn't have the point, but I'm going to take that. I'm going to actually put a negative point on him for letting D. Will go. And Rayshawn Jenkins. He gets 2 negative points because he let Rayshawn go too. And our secondary has been burnt fucking toast all year. So
all
Don't
year.
tell me that we couldn't have used him. Like,
Right.
that was the argument at the beginning of the year. We don't need him. I don't know who the fuck thought that. That was a terrible assumption.
Right.
And then this soft ass cushy zone, that's where D Will ate.
Yeah.
D Will was a zone monster, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next class, please. Sorry.
2023. We really didn't sign too many people, actually. We re-signed a lot of people. You know, we re-signed Evan Ingram. We gave him a little thing. Then Dewey, we got Dewey, kept Dewey. Frey Herndon, you know how that turned out. And Jamaica Hasty, who we left, let sit on the practice squad. New England picked him up. And we saw what he did to us this year. But other than that, that was it. We let Jawan Taylor go, which was good. Arden Key left. Marvin Jones Jr. went back to Detroit. And Chris Manhurst left for the Denver Broncos. That was basically it. That was basically it. So
we also got to go back real quick, though, because we didn't give enough credit for the Evan Ingram thing.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be just like a tear him down when he deserves it. I'm going to give credit where it's due, too, because Evan Ingram was a hell of a pickup. Evan Ingram has been a cornerstone of this offense. Like, if it's ever been successful, he's a part of it.
Okay.
And a huge part. Best tight end in football, actually, at one point in time. So
that was a good pickup because, he was with the Giants, and with the Giants, they was considering him as a bust. He got bad hands. He dropped passes, but he's been totally the opposite here with us, and that just goes to show he's a damn good player.
Absolutely.
He just had to be put in the right system with the right quarterback, I guess. Which in this case it worked. It worked for both players, Trevor and Evan. And so
then you start to think too: was it Daniel Jones?
Yeah,
Daniel Jones.
Considering he just got cut. I mean,
yeah, and you think about this too, though. Like, I want to give Balky the point because everybody considered Ingram a throwaway, but like anybody watching football knows, Daniel Jones can't throw a fucking football.
Yeah.
So like, does it become like? I don't know. I feel like that was actually kind of a gamble. He just got lucky on because like you're gambling when you pay this guy that it's the quarterback throwing bad balls, not his hands being trash. That's a pretty big gamble. And you paid him based off of an assumption that, probably have good hands under there somewhere. And I think that also ties into these injury picks that you were talking about. He rolls the dice like all the time. And do I understand there is no such thing as a guaranteed pick? I know that. Okay. But at the end of the day, there are definitely, I would say, certified picks. Like, even when you gamble your house away, there are picks that are certified that give you a refund if you miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he never takes those.
None.
No. It's always bet the farm, and we have no farm left.
No. At this point, we do not.
Yeah,
and of course, this year, the disaster that he brought in, Gabe Davis, Eric Armstead, Savage, Darby, Duvernay. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's Eric Armstead, what, 44 million, 20 tackles, 1 sack? And I think that sack came in a preseason, didn't it?
And these aren't even. Yeah, no. It was. It was Miami.
Yeah, Miami. That's right. But I mean, it's been so long ago. I would say preseason. Hell.
But not only that, though.
That's it.
Not only that, like. Oh man. Like I remember we were talking about during the offseason, though. It was underwhelming, the signings that we had, because we were just waiting for that one breakthrough, like a T. Higgins. Or, Brandon Ayuk, just something big,
Right.
Because we needed it. We knew we needed it. We needed something with firepower. We knew it. L'Jarius Sneed, and he wasn't a free agent. He was a trade. But, it was obvious it could have been. Clearly, it was a trade that could have been made because the Titans got him. I mean, all those things, dude. And you're just like, we had the money, too. It's not like we were broke. So,
yeah,
we had the second highest amount of cap space at that time. Like, we really had money to do whatever the fuck we needed to do, and we effectively got absolutely nothing but worse.
Which is and when you say it like that, you're like, how though? How?
Because he doesn't have any fucking foresight. He's retarded, I think, honestly. Like, Eric Armstead, you're going to bring him in. First of all, Eric Armstead wasn't doing much in San Francisco anymore anyway. They just have Fred Warner. Okay. Fred Warner is just a dog. That's just, and they have Bosa on the edge. It was nothing to do with Eric Armstead. It was everything to do with Bosa and Warner. Okay. And then you look past that. So whatever, say he just loves him and he thinks he can be better. Fine. Gabe Davis has a drop montage. Well, multiple of them. There are drop highlights from Buffalo.
Look, when you see a player on the other team and only thing you see them is doing certain things, in big moments, you're like, yeah. But they come to your team and like we do, we look at the film and then we realize, wait a minute, he can't catch with his hands. If it's not on his body, he can't catch it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, how can we see that? But that's the problem. That right there is exactly the problem. Is that we can see that.
Right.
And he gave this guy millions of dollars, and now he sees that.
But, I mean, he wasn't brought in to be number one receiver either, though. Well, maybe at the time before we got BTJ.
Yeah, because they were still pursuing. Well, no, they were still pursuing Ridley when we first picked him up. So, like, no, I don't think he was ever meant to be number one. But like, if you're meant to start, you should be able to catch. I don't care. Like, if you're meant to be in our starting rotation all the time, you have to catch.
Reach your hand. Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, I'd rather take a Giants approach. Cut that motherfucker. I don't care. Take the cap hit. Give somebody a chance. I don't care. Put Cephas out there. Put anybody else out there at this point. I don't care. And he's out for the season anyway.
Right.
I mean, fuck, it doesn't matter. I mean, just give somebody a chance that might actually become something. Because, like, he's good at all these project picks, but he always seems to pick the wrong project, too. Like we talked about, dude, we've been high on Joshua Cephas the whole time.
The whole time.
All of us were, like, because if you watch his film, it's there. He's got it. He just needs to be developed. He's suffered from the school he went to. He never got to play those big time games. He was always a step ahead of all of his competition. Now he's got to adapt to being level. And that's what the NFL is supposed to do. Develop this fucking guy, dude. Get him on the field and he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league, dude. I feel like he could do it.
Trevor said the magic word, develop.
Yeah, they don't know what that means.
Don't do.
No.
We don't.
No, we don't.
So
it's tragic. It's tragic.
What are you talking about? We've got there is the Well, now that I'm thinking, what about
yeah.
Well, you know what you could say to satisfy some people that it'll piss some people off. We developed Trayvon Walker.
Miller. Oh,
Trayvon Walker. They called him a draft pick.
Trayvon.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't think Trayvon was the number one, but I don't think he was a project pick either. Like I do feel like he was plenty solid enough to go in the top 5, top 10. But I will agree. I think Aiden Hutchinson was probably the one for sure. But I'm not saying that I'm disappointed with Trayvon. I love Trayvon. Don't get me wrong. But like, Aiden Hutchinson did prove that he is levels above in skill and technique. And I'm not just saying that to be one of those guys. It's just honest. If I'm being honest about it, like, just if you look at him tape for tape, side by side, Aiden Hutchinson will take over the fucking game. Trayvon Walker can take over the fourth quarter. I give him that. He's really good at that. But very rarely does he take the whole game. But I still love Trayvon. You know what I mean? Like, he's still great he's great for our standards, for what we're used to. But I think that's part of the problem, though. You know what I mean? Like, Aiden Hutchinson, I think that should have been a give me. Quite honestly, I do. I feel like that should have been a give me. Aiden Hutchinson was destroying it in college. Trayvon was solid in college. He was good. He wasn't solid. He was good. But Aiden Hutchinson was elite. And there was a sizable difference. There was a noticeable difference in their play and play style and the level that they were at. It was noticeable to everyone, which is why we got laughed at for allowing him to go to Detroit. We were laughed at. We were laughing stocks and jokes. And then, honestly, they still got the last laugh, even though he's hurt right now and it looks very bad. You wouldn't be able to say that would happen here. You don't know. There's no way to know how that would have played out. And there's no way to know that would have happened to him. So you can't even hold that as part of the conversation.
Right.
At the end of the day, player for player, Aiden Hutchinson's still, I believe, ahead of him in stats, and he hasn't played in like 4 weeks.
No, I think Trayvon either just tied it or it just passed him. One of the two. I could be
right.
wrong.
Well, but even then, that's still kind of sad. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't played in a month, and he's just now catching him.
See, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I think that comes back down to a system type thing. Okay, Detroit plays a very aggressive defense. All right, we have never played aggressive defense. We always played that laid back. Okay, if you can get to them, get to them. If not, okay, we just give up a little bit and see if we can't get it next time. So that leaves a lot of more double teaming on Trayvon or Josh for the sake, because those are the only two main rushers we have.
Yeah.
Especially now, with this nonsense of every 3 plays, we switching the whole line out, putting Armstead on the outside or Abdullah on the outside or bringing Miles Cole in. Cole, I mean,
we even look back
compared to Hutchinson, he's there, 3 plays every down, every series.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, also too, though,
and
stat wise.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't. My bad. I thought you were wrapping up. You're good.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say stat wise, that's kind of one of those box score watching things, because he had 5 sacks against one team.
Yeah,
and he literally, like 3 or 4 of them, he didn't even really get touched before he got to Baker Mayfield. So, right. I mean, that's one thing where, like, outside, I think he played like 5 or 6 games this season, and he had like 1.5 sacks outside of that one game. Like, he had a really good game. Like, he's had a couple in his career where he's had like a 3-sack game where the quarterback just kind of runs into him because the interior forces him out. But I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got plays where he goes absolutely crazy. Looks like TJ Watt, whoever you want to, JJ Watt, whoever. And he has a good rip and dip, and he has some good moves. But I think that's something that people tend to it's kind of like Josh. He's kind of like Josh Allen. There's some games where he just goes absolutely crazy and gets 3 or 4 sacks, and then might not get touched on all of them, and then he's just kind of quiet the rest of the year, but gets a lot of pressures. I mean, that's kind of Aiden Hutchinson to me. I do agree, though, coming out of college, he was the better pick in terms of like instant availability. I think long term, though, we'll see that Trayvon Walker is not only more durable, but he's also a better, stronger, faster pick overall. But also, too, again, we get into it, and the 3-4 really plays a key in that. I mean, we were playing a 3-4. Aiden Hutchinson is a 4-3 DN. I know that, people are going to bring up and be like, oh, he had like 2 pass deflections and an interception or 2 last year, blah, blah, blah. Like, shut up. Nobody cares what you have to say. Ball. Just because the DN rolls out and they throw the ball straight to him doesn't mean he's a great coverage.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a coverage guy. I just think, like you said, though,
on Diggs, who is in the right place at the right time, and then he gets torched every other time. Like,
I mean, he hasn't done shit since then. So.
I mean, he is literally like, if there's ever been a prime example in football of right place, right time, Trayvon Diggs is that dude, and Aiden Hutchinson is one of those guys at edge rusher. Like, I'm not going to say they're in the same league, as Aiden Hutchinson can still absolutely rush with the best of them. But that dude, Trayvon Diggs, man, he had the 9 interception season or 7 or whatever the fuck it was. And like every single one of them was like right to him in his breadbasket. Like he looked like he was the receiver the way they were throwing the ball to him. And then he was getting burned for like 60, 70 yards. But off topic. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's a couple key things there. I do agree with you on the initial point, though. I mean, yes, Aiden Hutchinson was the correct pick. On face value, and then I mean, it all goes to show. But I think Trayvon's developing nicely. I'm happy about that.
I am still satisfied with him.
Yeah.
I think it's just the point, though. It's like bulky,
but
he does that a lot.
He could have been a bust, and then we're having a completely different conversation.
You're absolutely right.
Aren't y'all happy we did not re-sign, extend Cisco like we wanted him to during the offseason? With the way he's played this year,
I feel like he's gonna come back next season, because we still have another year with him. I feel like he's gonna come back next season under a new regime and like kill it for some reason. I don't know why. I've got that feeling. But I feel like he comes. I feel like they come back next year, new coaching staff, new like normal defense, and I feel like all of a sudden he's gonna be pretty damn good. You know who's a head coaching candidate that would be a recycle? But I wouldn't necessarily be upset about.
Who?
Because he'd bring discipline.
Don't you fucking say Gruden.
No, not John Gruden.
Okay, I was going to say.
No.
I know
you better not say Belichick either.
No, hell no.
Okay.
All Brian Flores.
Oh, dude. I forgot.
I wouldn't necessarily be upset. He's definitely not my 1, 2, or 3 pick. But if we're going to get a recycled coach, I think I think in Miami, I think there was a lot of strife between the front office and him, and then the front
Yeah.
office was like encouraging him to lose games, trying to pay him to lose games, like bonuses and stuff. Like I think, like up there in fucking Pittsburgh right now, they're fucking humming, dude. He's got a good defense, but I mean, again, I'd rather go brand new. I'd rather go Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, new, innovative. Like let's do something. But I'm just saying, if we had to go recycled, he is one that I wouldn't be super happy about it, but I wouldn't be upset about it. Him or Robert.
I gotta say though too, all the guys on UCF Jaguars, that what I don't even remember what they call their podcast, but you know, him, Jordan,
Club Jaguar. Club Jaguar.
Okay, well, I was watching a clip on Instagram from Club Jaguar, and they made their case for Bill Belichick.
Yes, they tried hard on that one.
I gotta say, listen, if there's ever a way to tank your credibility, is to show that you don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm being honest. Like, you're not gonna hit on everything. But they're like, oh, right. We seen what Belichick can do. No, you saw what Belichick was when the team wasn't surrounded by absolute studs at every position. You saw then what Belichick could do. Because those last couple years, he had a team very similar to ours, and he couldn't do shit with it. Not a damn thing. Okay? You bring him here, what makes you think it's going to be any different? The only difference is Trevor Lawrence is levels above Mac Jones. Okay, so that's true. But Mac Jones wasn't really playing bad in New England his first year. I mean, he won.
He went to the Pro Bowl, didn't he?
And he went to the Pro Bowl. I mean, dude, you're talking about, let's bring in Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick showed that he doesn't – dude, he's not a good GM anymore. That's the end of it, all right? That's what it comes down to. That's what made him good in New England, was that he was making the GM calls, all right? That's what made him good there when he was still in touch with it. He's not in touch with it anymore.
Right.
He's just not. Okay. And then on top of that, people also like to forget that Tom Brady was in his ear the whole time. Like, this is who I want. I see this in this guy. I like that. This is what I want. Tom Brady made Bill Belichick just as much as Belichick made Brady. And people need to remember that. Okay. And as much as I love Trevor Lawrence, he's not Tom Brady. He's not. So, dude, bringing Belichick here would be another waste of money and another couple years down the drain instantly.
I agree.
Now, if we did bring him here, does that mean I'm not going to support the team? Absolutely not. I'm going to support my team. I love my team. But, dude. Oh, yeah. See, exactly. They celebrate mediocrity.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, like, Belichick wasn't even mediocre. He was one of the worst teams in the league the last 2 years he was here. So, I mean, I think you saw that his time of just coaching his way around bad talent is over.
Yeah. It comes to, people, they get stuck on the name. It's Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick. Just as I say with Doug, at this point, the game has bypassed them. Okay, yeah. They need to go on and sit down, go to be a commentator, whatever. The game is different now. The type of player is different now. You can't come in here with the 2017 playbook that won you the Super Bowl and expect to get anywhere, because things have changed. And that's what we're facing right now. And Belichick is the same. Mike Vrabel, I know everybody say, yeah, bring him. No, don't bring him either. Unless you're going to bring him as defensive, maybe. I say defense, yes,
I'd rather
maybe.
Have Scala. I'd much rather have someone.
That too. But I'm just throwing it out there. But as a head coach, no. Because what he wants to do has been bypassed also. You've seen it in Tennessee. It was good for when it was, but now it's no longer.
Well, it's like you're seeing it in Houston. Changed. You're seeing it in Houston. These guys that used to play. Okay, DeMeco Ryans is a young coach. He's a new style of coach. But he does like to run a lot of old school idea. And what you're seeing is people are figuring that shit out now. And very soon, that's going to be obsolete as well. I think listen, the point of the matter is defenses across the league are insanely better now. Like, they are so much better than it used to be. This used to be an offensive league. It's not an offensive league anymore. This is a defensive league, okay? And at the end of the day, if your defense can't stand up, that's it. Bill Belichick was an offensive mastermind. He was not a defensive guy, okay? And he wasn't even an offensive mastermind. He just had Tom fucking Brady and Randy Moss and Rob Gronkowski. That's not. I don't even know if I can say you're a mastermind of the offense if you've got 3 of the greatest to ever do it on the offense. Now, so then you got to ask, how much is it these guys just making plays because they're him? Or like, is it scheme? But you still got to give him his kudos for getting him there. So, props for that. But
and Belichick, I have to admit, I've been around a little longer than you guys. He did have Cleveland winning some games. I mean, and that's maybe for y'all a little bit, but yeah, he did have Cleveland in the mix when he was the head coach until things popped off and he had to leave. But yeah, so the credibility is there. However, not now. Stay on the NFL.
Back to Cleveland and retires in his first press conference.
Yeah,
that was funny.
All right. I need to head out, but I'm not cutting it off cold. I'm gonna ask one question. We're sitting there at number 1. We cannot trade back. Nobody wants to trade with us.
Oh Lord.
Who are you taking at number 1? I'll throw a couple names out there. Just I know it's hard to pull out. We got Travis Hunter, Ashton Jeanty, Kelvin Banks Jr. That's the tackle out of Texas. Tatairoa McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. Amika Egbuka out of Ohio State, wide receiver. Wyatt Millam, tackle out of West Virginia. That's basically it up there.
It's Kelvin Banks or Travis Hunter for me. Between those
Nick
two.
Iman Wari is up there. He's the safety out of South Carolina, 6'3", 227, 4'3", 840. That's a big boy for a safety. But Hunter or who?
It's Hunter or Kelvin for me.
Look, I'm being honest. We've been, for the last 3 years, we've been complaining about this one group for the longest. And yeah, I'm taking Kevin Banks.
So question.
What?
To follow that up. If Trent Baalke is here, or if a new GM is here, who do you think we're taking if Baalke's here? Who do you think we're taking if a new GM's here?
If Baalke's here, we're going to take some guy that no one's ever heard of that might have.
I was about to say the same thing.
No. He's not going to do all that.
I think if he's here, 3 years.
I think if he's here, he's going to go Travis Hunter. And I'm going to say this. I agree with you, Eric, that we absolutely need to strengthen up this offensive line. I don't think, though, that the only opportunity – we have so many picks in this draft, it's not funny.
Yeah,
we do have a lot of picks.
So the only issue with that I'll say, the O tackle class this year is very weak. There's only like one or like the top 2 guys are like it. Everybody else is more of like a guard.
Yeah.
So we'd have to make the decision is, are we keeping Walker Little and then drafting guards and interior, or are we drafting we have to take them first round. Are we taking a first round left tackle and then letting it ride on the rest of the stuff and trying to get everything else in the later rounds?
Well, see, one thing that sucks, though, is that Hunter he's not just like good on one side of the ball or the other. He's elite on both sides. Like, he has elite ball skills on the defensive side. I think
he's an elite wide receiver. I think he's a great corner.
I could agree with that.
I think you put him against like real SEC, like, Power receivers. 4 Ohio State. You put him against the real like Power 4 wide receivers. I think he's a great corner in that range. I think he's an elite wide receiver no matter who you put him up against. Because you see him get burnt against these guys in these lower conferences at corner occasionally. And whether that be him being too cocky, whether that be in him just getting caught off guard, it happens. I think he's a good to great corner, but an elite wide receiver. And I know he's not going to do that shit in the NFL. Like he thinks he's going to play both ways. You're not going to get hit by a grown man, on each side of the ball, 60, 70, 80 plays a game and think you're going to play both ways. You're not.
No, you're not. Yeah, but I do think, though, we can't keep sitting here and complaining that we never take anyone that'll take over the game and then never draft anyone that takes over the game. Because do I understand that, yes, we need to build that line? We do. But very rarely, I feel like we need both. We need those X Factor it players, and we need a line. But those X Factor it players only exist usually in the first 10. Okay.
That's true.
Usually.
That's true.
Okay. And we're there. And do I think, like, if Balky's going to draft a fucking project, I would rather it be a project lineman than a project corner at this point. We got too many fucking corners that can't do anything. And
damn, we got too many project linemen now.
I know we do. I was about to say, but our linemen are projects too. It's just like we're depleted in all areas, essentially. And it feels like, dude, I just don't see a way that you can pass on Travis Hunter and the versatility he gives you. Like, say you have a corner go down. He could just stop playing receiver for you and start running corner full time. If you have a receiver go down, he's full-time receiver again. Like, and he's good enough to take over the game on either side of the ball. I do fully believe that. And I think the reason that you see Brian Thomas Jr. getting slowed down is because he's the only threat that these defenses have to worry about. So they're just double covering him, and there's nobody else.
Jones just can't throw it that far.
He can't. He's trash. But like even the last game that Trevor was in, he didn't get any targets in the second half because they opened their fucking eyes. It was like, oh shit, we just need to double that guy, and then we don't have to worry about nobody else because nobody else is getting separation. So I think you get a guy. We can't. I don't feel like we can keep sitting here saying we never draft the right guy that can take over the game, and then pass on Hunter to watch him go take over the game for someone else. Because I do believe, honestly, like, if you watch him, the raw, like, just the athleticism he has is fucking insane. His stamina is insane. Like, the speed he's got is good. Like, there's no way. I don't think there's any way you can just be like, yeah, I don't think we want that guy. You know? And I get the Kelvin Banks argument. Like, we do need him. We need Kelvin Banks. We do. But there's no other Travis Hunter. There's no chance you're finding a guy later on that can play as good. There's a better chance that you find a guard that can hold up as good as Kelvin. Now, you're probably not going to. It's unlikely. But there's a better chance. Or, I mean, tackle at least. There's a better chance you find a tackle that can at least be serviceable. You're not going to find another Travis Hunter in the draft. You're not.
You know, good points. Good points. And with the abundance of draft picks that we do have, maybe we can bundle something and pick one up from another team. So, and then that's a win-win both ways.
I would love to see that. Kelvin Banks and Travis Hunter come to Duval. That would be great. I find it unlikely, but with this administration, yeah, that's unlikely. But and to finish your question, Isaiah, I think you were going to ask if we have a new regime, who they pick. I also think they pick Travis Hunter. The reason I think they pick Travis Hunter is because they want to come in with some juice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you need somebody that's going to make fucking plays. Now, and not that we don't. I know we need Kelvin. I'm not trying to say that we don't need Kelvin.
Well, the question is, really what it boils down to at the end of the day is, do you think that the new regime re-signs Walker Little, or do you think that they're letting him walk and they're taking a tackle? Because I don't think if they let Walker Little go, there's any chance we draft anybody over than Kelvin Banks. That's my belief.
That makes sense.
Because I don't think that you go into a class like this that's so weak. Because no matter who we sign as a GM and who we sign as a coach, if we do a complete rebuild, everybody's gone. There's no way they're not already looking at the draft, especially if they're not currently employed somewhere, or if they are, but they know they're going for a GM or a head coach spot. They're looking at this draft thing and who can I bring into a new team if I go somewhere to make a splash or do this or secure that, or, oh, hey, these are my potential landing spots. Like, if Ben Johnson knows Jacksonville's a potential landing spot for him, for a fact he's looking at, well, would Travis Hunter be better, or do we want to lock down the left side for Trevor and let Walker Little go? The question is Walker Little going to show enough by the end of the season to either Balky and his staff or whatever new staff comes in to be the guy next year? Or is he walking, or are they going to be basically forced into taking a left tackle unless someone comes available in free agency? That's kind of where I'm at on this.
I don't think Walker Little's going to be the answer no matter what way we do it. I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah. Look, and amazing we're talking about this, and this just popped up on my phone. Matt Miller of ESPN basically said perhaps they could target Jaguars, could have targeted an offensive tackle, but none are worth the first overall selection in this year's class, which leaves trading down as the most logical path.
Yeah,
and
that's why I said can't trade down. But no, I think we are going to trade down if we end up with the number one. I think we do trade down probably with like a New York Giants, somebody who's up there but not high enough to get a Shadur Sanders or a Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's probably the best in the class, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know, dude. I got to say though, have you seen Shadur's stats though? Like, and
I mean, have you seen the highlight throws to Travis Hunter, where Travis Hunter is jumping over 3 guys on a ball that never should have been thrown? And
I agree.
And you know, here's the thing: Shadur is okay, but I think he's protected a lot by Dion in what So he's good. Don't get me wrong; he's good. You know, he's doing what he needs to do. But I think he still needs a little more developing. But that's just me, from watching. I don't know. I'm not sold on him, especially not as a number 1 overall pick. No. And then that's the other thing. I look at it. Okay, these guys they're doing their thing, especially Travis Hunter. But who's representing them, and what problems are we gonna have trying to get these guys signed? That's a whole different animal in itself.
Yeah.
And I think GMs and owners look at that kind of thing as well. Because if you're gonna draft a guy, he's gonna sit out half. To the first or second game of the season, he's not doing you any good because he's behind then, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. I hate to cut it off, but I got to get going.
Yeah.
Thanks for working with me, guys, and getting this one done in the morning. Thanks to everybody who showed up.
Yes, thank you.
Let us know. Do y'all want us to do more draft content? Do you want us to continue working on the season and purely doing episodes based on predictions and reactions? Let us know down in the comments, or don't, and just be quiet, whatever, it's fine.
And see what happens.
Just interact with us. I'm gonna play it just in case. I worked on something a little bit and I kind of want to maybe get the MP3 for it and change it, but I'm gonna play it and see what y'all think, and we're gonna play it live just for funsies.
Third.
Okay.
And
Teal!
Hey, you know what it is, man. You're locked in at Third and Teal, where they keep it real. And if you don't know, you're going to learn today. Duval! Third and Teal, baby, and I'm out. Let's go!
Shout out Trevor for the original video.
I like that.
And then
I
think
that.
I like it. I think we need to probably get the sound separate and then put it all together. And I can mix it and everything. But I think Trevor did a great job on that initial one. I know we talked about doing that, and then the D-Roy on top of it, I think works out good, because I even have y'all's first Duval layered in over when we do Duval from Trevor's video. So yeah, I think that'll work. We'll figure it out. I put it as the outro video, but I think because I did it during the recording, I don't think it'll do it. So I just want to make sure it got played before we left. But we'll figure that out. But
yeah,
all right, boys. Any last notes? Any last comments?
Duval!
Let's go.
All right.
Third. And
Teal!
Hey, you know what it is, man. You're locked in at Third and Teal, where they keep it real. And if you don't know, you're going to learn today.